I'm joined once again by Tim Johnson, who's going to be taking on Marcelo Golm coming up here at UFC Fight Night 125 on February 3rd. Tim, how are you this morning?
Doing pretty good. It was you're the first thing I saw when I woke up this morning, so it was a good day.
Well, I appreciate that. That's very special to me, and I very much appreciate you taking the time. And you've been in the headlines recently. I know you set up a GoFundMe account to get your coaches out to Brazil to corner you. And I just checked it the other day. It seems like you met your goals. Were you surprised by the feedback that people were giving and donating to this?
Yeah. What I was really surprised about was this wasn't supposed to be out in public. This was supposed to be on my private Facebook for my friends and my acquaintances and that type of stuff to donate. But I'm not very good with technology, and so when I posted it public and went to bed, and then woke up to all of that. So yeah, I was quite surprised. And then there's a guy who donated, Rob Strauss, who the amount that he had donated was like paid for the whole thing. So, but yeah, there's gonna be enough. Like, what's gonna be nice is there's gonna be enough where you can get a pretty good amount to like Wounded Warrior.
Yeah, no, it's great. And, I'm sure there was some negative feedback as well because, people might not understand. Like you said, it was supposed to be private and, people might misinterpret that and think that, you're looking for like a hand-me-out. Did you get any negative feedback from anyone, or has it been pretty positive for the most part?
Once the articles came out on a couple of the sites, I actually went and looked at the comments, and it's probably been like 50-50, and I was like, that's kind of what bothered me a little bit. If I wanted, I wasn't, these are supposed to be, like I said, I was on my private one. I was wanted to ask my friends and people who know me and support me. That's a little different. If I wanted to, like, I didn't want to. I didn't want to really be asking strangers for money.
Right. No, exactly.
And I didn't even, in general, I didn't even really want to do it, but it was kind of was stuck. Like, Monday, we thought we had money for all the tickets, and one of our people who was going to be donating or going to supply some money for it, kind of backed out on it. So we were stuck behind a rock and a hard place at a short period of time.
Yeah, and for those who didn't see the article, that's sort of the main thing, is that you had these sponsors that were supposed to give you money for going out and doing this, as far as bringing the coaches out, and then all of a sudden that money's not there. So it's not like you were in a situation where you're trying to get your whole entourage out there. You just want a couple coaches just to corner you, especially going down to Brazil again. It's crazy.
Yep. So it was just kind of situational. But it all worked out. Rob Strauss, thank you.
There you go. Shout out to Rob Strauss there. Your last, I think it's 4 of your last 5 fights have been overseas. What's up with the UFC? They're not letting you have a hometown fight, or a fight that's relatively close. What's sort of the reason for that? Have they told you, or they just sort of give you these fights and you accept them?
They just kind of, I think I just got to give them to me. They offer them to me, and I don't say I accept them. I was on the shelf for a while there with a little bit of an injury, and it was time to get back on. Beggars couldn't be choosers, basically.
Your last fight, obviously, things didn't go your way in that one. Was it just a matter of you getting caught, or do you feel like there were other things that you could have done differently in that fight?
You know what? Not really excuse. Like, it was a pretty bad camp. I went into the fight when I maybe shouldn't have even been fighting. But even at 100% healthy, I don't know if the fight would have went any different. Like, I could still throw a punch. I landed a couple of really flush ones, and Junior was in there. Like, the way he was fighting for a bigger cause, maybe. He had nothing to lose, and I said this a couple times. So I'm gonna lose. At least I lost to somebody like that. With the story with his kid and his dad and all that. It was at least it was something. The money he won off of beating me went to a good person, good good story.
And you mentioned off the top being sort of a private person. Without getting into too much detail, what sort of went wrong for you in that camp leading up to that fight? Anything that you can reveal?
I just kind of been keeping the injury. I haven't been saying too much about it, but it took a couple months for it to heal up. Like after the fight, I laid on the couch and didn't do anything. Like during the camp, like I couldn't even run
Oh
because
man. Okay.
yeah. So the conditioning was a little bit, just little things that chip away at your psyche as a fighter going into a fight. So I do like I couldn't go for 3 rounds, so I went out there and tried slot knock tried knock him out right away. And he ate some good shots, and it was kind of a oh boy, we're going to be in a fight.
Right.
Yeah.
And now here you are matched up with another prospect in Marcelo Golm. He's got the 6-0 record. How do you feel like you match up against him? Was he someone you had to sort of look up once they presented the matchup to you?
Yeah, I looked him up, and I think there's like 4 minutes of footage on him.
Right. Yeah, it's tough. Yeah.
Not a lot. He's a quick athletic kid. But then again, he has never had a fight, I think, go past even 2 minutes. So it's gonna be so try to put him in on familiar waters, I guess.
Absolutely. Now, how's the training camp been going? And did you stay back home for this training camp? Because I know in the past you've gone out to Vegas and done a little bit of cross training out there.
Yeah, went out to Vegas twice for 2 weeks this camp. Kind of do that every camp now. And got a lot of really good work in out there with a lot of different bodies. So and this camp, went pretty well. No major, just your minor bumps and bruises.
Yeah, like every fighter. Yeah.
Yep.
Exactly. Who were some of the people you got to train with out in Vegas? I know last time, if I remember, you were training with Roy Nelson a bit.
Yep. Roy's the main one. He's got his tournament coming up, so he's got a fight in a couple weeks. So it worked out pretty good with the timeline of us training together. So I went out there, trained with Roy, trained with Travis. They got another heavyweight from Canada, Jared. God dang, I can't think of his last name. Once again, sorry, Jared. Did an interview yesterday. I couldn't remember his last name.
No worries. Jared from Canada.
Yeah, good. He's a good body. Really knowledgeable. Like he pushed me, and then just better bodies. Ronnie. Can't think of Ronnie's last name yet. There was a lot of good things.
A lot of different looks is kind of what you're trying to say here. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not, and I get hit in the head, so I forget names.
Forgiven, absolutely. How is the Performance Institute getting to use that, or did you go? I imagine you use that.
Yeah, I go there. I go there about every day for free lunch.
Right. How is the lunch? I hear it's fantastic.
It is. It's the chefs and everything they have on duty there are always cooking, very healthy, very nutritious stuff. It's pretty awesome, actually. But when I go out there for a couple camps ago when it was open up, when I went there for like 2 weeks in a row, then I went and got my chicken conditioning in there. But otherwise, I'm only there for that week. I get it on or 5 days. So I kind of get my strength conditioning on myself and then come back to my coach here in Fargo. But the more time I spend out there, the more I'll be intertwined with them.
How do you see this fight sort of unfolding on February 3rd, coming up here at UFC Fight Night 125?
All of his fights he runs for, like he's a super pressure fighter. He wants to get to the fight to the mat. So you like to think that's going to happen, but for some reason I don't think he's going to be pressuring as much with me. His fight with Colombo was backing up instantly, and like it just didn't even look like he wanted in there. So I actually think there might be a little dancing right away to start off the fight before we're going to feel each other out maybe a little bit. But predictions, I don't make predictions anymore. Every time I made a prediction, we're going to lose, so I'm not going to do that.
Okay, fair enough.
But we're I don't know. I think it's going to be both because we both move forward. We're move forward fighters, so it should be a forehead to forehead fight.
Where do you feel like a win over Golm sort of puts you here in the division? It's kind of wide open in the moment with Stipe Miocic sort of taking care of business with most of the contenders in the division.
It won't really advance me too much. I don't think. I think they just kind of want to see what kind of talent they got in Golm right now. After that, I might be, if I get a win, might be a little more picky. I'm gonna get back up there in that 12, fight someone ahead of me. There's actually a couple names I mentioned for a fight are fighting March 3rd. no, not wishing any harm to them. If one of those guys drop out, I want to be would like to be a short replacement for them in March. So, um, and then from there, try to walk my way back up.
Excellent. What's that like, being the guy who's coming in basically to see how these prospects are? I mean, does that sort of, put a chip on your shoulder knowing that they, you got the undefeated prospect and the veteran like yourself?
No, not really. Like it doesn't really bother me. I guess, again, you take pride in, in it. You're the body that wants to show what they have in a prospect. There's nothing wrong with that, I guess, but really you want to be fighting people above you, not below you.
Absolutely. Just two more questions for you here, and they're fun ones here. I know every time we talk, you always talk about how you're watching shows on FX. I think you watched Baskets last time or something like that. What are you watching right now on TV?
Actually not. I'm not watching too many shows right now. I'm addicted to PUBG on Xbox One right now.
Nice. Okay. Good stuff.
Yeah, so that's been taking up my free time. So, but like I said, shows or video games are kind of what I do during fight camp.
Of course, you got to take your mind off stuff. Are you doing the multiplayer thing, I guess?
No, basically been playing solo. My roommate, he plays with squads all the time, but we never are on at the same time. So, um, nope, just been doing solo missions so far.
Gotcha. And my final question for you, I know you're a big football fan, and I know the Vikings, they didn't quite make it as far as they would have liked, but what were your thoughts on them this season? It seemed like they had, they pulled things out pretty well.
I couldn't complain too much. Actually, my preseason prediction with what I was looking at was, worst to worst was like 7-9, and I'm like, if all things go right, they're going to be a 10-6 team. So they went over my expectations, that's for sure. And honestly, I didn't think we were going to win in Philly. It wasn't the Vikings fan curse like, oh, we'll never win. I don't even want to get sucked in. I sucked in. I was all in on the team, but it felt like a trap game, and I was just like, I don't think we're gonna be ready for it, and that proved right.
Do you ever get to any NFL games at all?
No, actually, I don't. We were gonna go down a couple times this year, but I was in camp for most of the season. I went back to school, so there's financially a little bit money had to go to tuition and all that. So it was running on a tight budget, so I wasn't able to get down to the Twin Cities and get to a game.
See, what the UFC's got to do is they got to book you on a card during football season, and then you can kind of parlay that and go to a game or something. That would sort of be the perfect situation.
Well, I thought they should have just had a fight the week of in Minnesota one of these times.
Exactly. Yeah, I agree with that. Lots of talent there, and again, you've got the football team. So put in a word after, especially if you get a win. You should just go on the mic and ask for that.
I know. It's been like 10 years since they had a show in Minnesota back when Lesnar.
Exactly. We got to get Brock back, and then the incentive will be there.
Yeah. Well, they did it at the wrong venue. I think they did it at the Target Center. They need to do it at the Excel Center.
Right. That's where the Minnesota Wild play, right?
Yep.
Good stuff. Awesome. Well, we're looking forward to this fight. It's UFC Fight Night 125 coming up here February 3rd. Tim, I really appreciate the time, especially first thing in the morning. I just remind people where they can get a hold of you on social media. And if you got any sponsors or shout outs, the floor is yours.
Social media, Instagram and Twitter. You can get me at T-Bear-Tim. And Facebook, just on my athlete page, Timothy Johnson. My two gyms here in Fargo, the Academy of Combat Arts, and Metroplex, gym. My strength and conditioning coach, Eric Sweeney, Power by Design Fitness, and it's awesome.